Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. Hit subscribe right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there are a lot of people who are going to say, oh, nothing's ever going to happen. You have midterms in November. Democrats will lose both the House and the Senate. Unfortunately, the economy will continue to tank. Subscribe to this channel, to my super chat. I cannot thank you enough. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. So if you enjoy these live streams, your super chat support is greatly appreciated. I don't have $20 million in venture capital funding like some people, so your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. Subscribe also, ladies and gentlemen, to the Stock Market Crash channel and the Nuclear Confrontation channel. August 1st, so on Monday, August 1st, I'm going to have 4 segments on each of those channels, but on this H.A. Goodman, almost with 200,000 subs, I'll have a segment at 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific time every single day. So set your watches, set your dial to 8 a.m. and to 11 a.m. on Monday from August until, hopefully, forever. 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Pacific. I will have uploads every single day on this channel, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'll hold you to that. JG, hello. Hi, Caroline. G. Corber, hello. Thanks, everybody. Eric, thanks, everybody. AJ, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Dana, hello. Tricky, hello. Well, I know people are going to say, oh, well, nothing's ever going to happen. Oh, and become a member of this channel as well. We have a pretty good size membership. It's growing. So become a member. That's on the homepage. And ladies and gentlemen, so a Clinton insider is the source who allegedly fed Danchenko Steele dossier info against Trump. You have Clinton paying Sussman, and you have a Clinton insider feeding Danchenko. And people say, well, nothing's ever going to happen. Why wasn't there an indictment? Because Durham he miscalculated, okay? He made a mistake. I mean, the man has practically zero media support, and he's waiting until November. November, the pendulum is going to swing to Trump Republicans. They're going to impeach mashed potato brains. Amin Ra, H.A. Badman, hello. Amin Ra, hello. Thank you so very much. I hope all is well. I hope you're doing well. Amin Ra, thank you as always for watching. Thank you as always. Amin Ra, thank you. Daniel, yes, I am. To my super chat, thank you. Amin Ra, thank you again. So people are going to say, oh, nothing's ever going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember something, okay? Rome was not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day, ladies and gentlemen. So you have all of media, and late night, by the way, is slowly turning on mashed potato brains. It's a slow kind of mutiny on the Democratic bounty. But Sir Felix, Saturday night with craft beer, wings, and HA's geopolitical wisdom. Let's dig deep, folks. HA is worth it. Thank you so very much, Sir Felix. That is a beautiful night. Craft beer and wings. Oh my God. JG, is there anything better than that? Sir Felix, that's a great night. Amin Ra, Sir Felix, craft beer, wings. I had a wing eating contest with my buddies many years back. And they kicked me out of the contest because I didn't eat like all the meat on the bone. And so I was kicked out of the contest, which was I felt that it was unfair because I was pretty much, eating what was there. But there's nothing better. There's nothing better than craft beer and wings. Thank you, Sir Felix. Enjoy the evening, Sir Felix. Thank you. Amin Ra, thank you. To my super chat, thank you so very, very much. My goodness. Clinton insider basically a public relations executive who is literally an operative of the Clinton campaign, or a lifelong Clinton operative or loyalist, gave the dossier source false information about Trump. The people who it's really interesting. The people who pontificate about how Trump lies so much. Trump is the epitome of honesty, the paragon of virtue compared to these people. Okay? Trump's lies deal with crowd size or how wealthy he is or whatever. They have nothing to do with national security. This is interference, this is collusion, this is everything they accuse Trump of. Okay? Christopher Steele is not American. He's not a U.S. citizen. He's a foreign national. Okay? Obviously our greatest ally, the UK, but that doesn't mean it's not interference from another country. It was. And so you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where people say, I know that there are a lot of people who watch this channel and say, well, nothing's ever going to happen. Nothing's ever going to happen. Wait until November, ladies and gentlemen. G. Corber, thank you so very much. Thank you for being a member as always. And Sir Felix also, thank you. And Amin Ra, thank you. G. Corber, thank you so much. I hope all is well. Rome wasn't built in a day, ladies and gentlemen. G. Corber, thank you so much. As always, Rome wasn't built in a day. We have a very, very, Stephanie, thank you. We have a very, very, we have an economy that is in free fall. And we're going to have a negative third quarter. The economy is going to contract again. Now, unemployment, and this relates directly to the Durham probe special counsel because you're going to have the Senate. Republicans are going to win in the Senate. And I don't see how I don't see how Republicans can lose. It's possible, but the economy is going to continue to tank. We have a geopolitical nightmare now, not only in Europe, but a brewing nightmare with China and Taiwan. And we have a situation where interest rates are going up. Interest rates are going up as inflation is going up. Okay, that makes no sense. Interest rates continue to rise because they didn't want to raise interest rates during Biden's first year, which they should have. They didn't want to because they wanted the artificial growth during his first year. They thought that would give him political momentum. It didn't work out. Build Back Better was tanked. And Build Back Better was opposed by pretty much everyone. The National Association, aside from Manchin. Yvette! HG and fellow peasants, good morning. Good morning, Yvette. Thank you so very much. I hope all is well. Yvette. Thank you. Thank you as always. What happened was during a great economy, or no, I should say during an economy that was growing at least, they chose not to raise interest rates, okay? So all of 2021, it wasn't a great economy, but at least it was rebounding, okay? What happened was they said, no, we're not going to raise interest rates. Inflation is temporary. It's only temporary. And it was not temporary. Anyone with a functioning brain cell knew that it was not temporary at all. Yvette Moore. Got your name wrong. Yvette, it's all good. Thank you. It's all good. Thank you so very, very much. Yvette, greatly appreciated. Thank you. Yvette, thank you so very much. It's all good. Well, it's still technically HG also. So I appreciate that. So instead what they did was they're raising interest rates now while we have rising inflation and a contracting GDP. Thank you again, Yvette. So they're raising interest rates while the GDP is contracting. Does that make any sense to you? The dude, thank you. Does that make any sense to anyone here? Yvette, does that make sense at all? A contracting GDP where they say, well, we're not in a recession. Well, we're not in a recession. Why are we not in a recession? We have 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. Why are we not in a recession? They say, well, it's the job market. The job market is doing very well. Well, the job market took 2 years to get the 22 million people unemployed back to work. Okay? Now we're facing layoffs. Now we're facing retailers that are revising their earnings downward. Target, Walmart, Amazon. And you have an economy that's not on the upswing, it's on the downswing. We're already, if the rebuttal is, well, the job market is good. If the job market is good, why did the economy contract? If the job market is good, why did the economy contract, and why did inflation go up? So, if, you know what, I'll move my, if the economy is good, okay, if the economy is good, why did, if the economy is good, why did inflation go up? And we know that oil prices are going to continue to go up. So you can have, there's the inverted yield curve, which is a huge issue. Investors are basically saying with an inverted yield curve, they would rather invest short term than long term in the U.S. economy because they don't believe in the U.S. economy long term. Okay, generally, you would get a higher yield with a long term treasury bond. But see, that's not the case because people are afraid about the prospects long term for the United States of America. Okay, that's kind of like what happens when you tank and shut down economic activity and impose all of these absurd protocols and regulations. So, if you go to oilprices.com, ladies and gentlemen, let's just see really quickly. If you go to oilprices.com, we'll get there. We'll eventually get there. We are now, so we're basically, WTI is almost at 100. Once it breaks 100, and it will, and it gets to 110, it's game over, unfortunately. I don't say this gleefully, but it's unfortunately game over for the economy, okay? The one saving grace, okay, the one thing, Yvette Moore, nothing makes sense. I thought we established that 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, exactly. Yvette Moore, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Nothing makes sense. But here, if you look, thank you so very much, Yvette. Greatly appreciated. Nothing makes sense for the past 2 years. But nothing makes sense, and yet we still continue to abide by the apoplectic and hysterical decision-making from Democrats and media and experts that are wonderful and always wrong. But here, West Texas Intermediate is the U.S. benchmark, okay, for oil produced within the United States of America. Brent crude is the benchmark for the global benchmark for OPEC, countries that buy oil from OPEC. Now, you're going to look at when they say, well, inflation will eventually subside. How can inflation subside when you have over $100 per barrel oil? The recession, people were saying that the recession is going to, you see a decline in commodity prices, but it's a momentary decline. It's not a long-term decline. It's a momentary decline. Okay? If you have a momentary decline in energy, and we're going into the winter, it's July, it's October, okay? Winter is just around the corner, okay? So you're looking at heating costs. Oil will go back up, but not just that. Refining capacity is at 95. We're basically at 100% capacity in terms of refineries, okay? Now, diesel is going to be an issue. We have a situation with diesel exhaust fluid. We have a situation, and by the way, if you get kicked off, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Please log back on if you do get kicked off. But when oil prices stay above $100, and they will, when oil prices stay at 110, 120, and they will, they'll get to, because global supply, global demand has outpaced global supply, and the only reason, one of the only reasons that the U.S. the WTI is not well over 100 is because Biden has flooded the country full of strategic petroleum reserves. That's one of the reasons. It's really interesting to hear the hypocrisy from Democrats who want to save the planet from climate change, then defend Biden flooding the country full of strategic petroleum reserves. Had he simply allowed the oil and gas companies to operate without banning drilling, leasing on federal lands, then that caused these oil and gas associations in 14 states to sue him. Okay, and then it pushed back. It pushed back the oil and gas industry about a year, because they didn't have that for about a year. Plus, then he reversed the policy, so he doesn't really know what he's doing. Democrats don't really know what they're doing at all. They just want to pander to certain viewpoints on the left, and then when it doesn't work, they get sued by environmental groups. So they're now being sued by environmental groups after they were sued by oil and gas companies. He's probably the only president, mashed potato brains, who's both been sued by environmental companies and by oil companies. You're not usually taken to court by both sides, but he is. So inflation is not going to subside when you have oil prices over $100. And Brent crude was at 110, by the way, the other day. So, okay, and then you have a contracting economy. GDP now estimate for the third quarter is supposed to be 2%. It ain't going to be 2%. That's nonsense. It's almost certainly going to be negative. Okay? It's almost certainly going to be negative. It ain't going to be 2%. And so, what does this have to do with the Durham Probe Special Counsel? You have control of the House and Senate, and you have a complete change. You will have Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Jim Jordan, Ron Johnson, Rand Paul. You have all of these people that some of them you might not like their personalities, but they make me look like an advocate for the Democratic Party. Okay? They make me look like the most, the furthest left liberal Democrat. And you have to understand, the big payback's coming. James Brown, the big payback. They investigated Trump endlessly, okay? They investigated Trump endlessly. And that's all they did for 4 years in the House. They're going to impeach Biden. You're basically going to have like a lot to look forward to. They're going to impeach Biden because he lied through his teeth. He lied through his slurring speech about working with Hunter and basically selling out the United States government. So when he forced out a prosecutor, he did so almost certainly because there's emails, a money trail, and there's actual evidence, not just hearsay and gossip. But you can, if you want congressional testimony, you have Tony Bobulinski and others who will testify before Congress. Okay, you have people who will testify before an impeachment hearing against Hunter and against Joe. Okay, so those people, of course, the way politics works in the United States of America is liberal sensibilities are infused within everything, within headlines. Like, is anyone blaming, are there articles in Reuters or Time Magazine or NPR blaming Biden for this recession? Because it is his fault. He came in with policies that were anti-fossil fuel, anti-business. The National Association of Manufacturers was against Build Back Better. The Business Roundtable was against Build Back Better. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce was against Build Back Better. Okay? You had business organizations against his signature, economic plan. Then there's like this hilarious inflation reduction plan that actually boosts inflation. So you're not going to have a good economy going into November of this year. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that gleefully because I don't want people to lose their jobs. And I don't want people to as I beg for Super Chat, I'm telling everybody to save your money. I don't want people to lose their jobs or suffer financially, but it's going to be a terrible, terrible economy from here on out. It's only going to get worse. And Charles, hello, thank you. Stephanie, hello. It's only going to get worse. And all of these public relations polls that you see, like all the polls that you see, well, Democrats are really doing well. I mean, at the end of the day, the average person doesn't care about the congressional hearing with Liz Cheney and Kinzinger. They don't care at all. They don't think, most Americans don't even think that Trump organized anything. Okay? Because he didn't. And unless they indict Trump, there's no stopping him. So they're going to have to indict him because there is no stopping him. The Democratic brand or whatever they're selling, nobody's buying. We have a terrible economy. You're going to see layoffs. You're going to see continued contracting GDP. You're going to see inflation up. How on earth can you combat inflation by pumping more money into the system? You can't do that. The whole point of the Democratic Party pushing for stimulus checks, okay, you need a social safety net when there's a calamity, when people lose their job. Yes, I agree with unemployment insurance, but I don't agree with causing poverty. What Democrats do is they cause the poverty. They first say, well, we are standing up for people who are poor and impoverished, and we're going to help people. Then what they say is, you know what? We need more stimulus checks. We need an eviction moratorium. We need this and that. And it's like you prevented people from working. You shut down all of society because of your apoplectic analysis of a serious topic. But you had hysteria, absolute madness and hysteria. And so they caused the poverty. And then you can't blame Trump. You can't blame anyone else but Biden's policies. That's why the National Association of Manufacturers, the Business Roundtable, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, 14 states, oil and gas associations, all either sued Biden or opposed his policies. Okay? And he wants to increase taxes. So the argument, like, when you hear Robert Reich or Tricky Vicky, do you think Europe's going to get hit much worse and much sooner than us? I think Tricky Vicky, I think that it'll probably be about the same time. I don't know who is going to get, I don't know which economy or economic, like European economies are already flirting with recession, or they're in a recession right now. They have all-time highs, 40-year highs in inflation. So it could be at the same time. They'll probably get hit a little sooner than we are, than we will. But Tricky Vicky, thank you so much. Great question. Thank you. You're seeing energy issues in Germany right now. The interesting thing, the hilarious thing is when, Tricky Vicky, thank you so much. When Democrats and media say, well, it's a global issue. This is a global issue. Don't you understand it's a global issue? Yes. There are multinational organizations. There are multinational organizations that have told Western countries to do something, do this, do that, to engage in the most absurd avenue, the most absurd policies. Okay, so when you have all of these Western countries, all of Europe, or most of Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the U.S., you have these countries in unison, simultaneously, tanking their economies, okay? So yeah, it's gonna be a global issue. When you've tanked the global economy all at once, yes, commodity prices and oil prices will be a global problem. You have tanked your economy because you were given bad advice. The leadership was completely non-existent. By the way, it coincided all of this with the national interest of a country that doesn't want Pelosi to visit them. Okay, when Democrats say that Trump was beholden to the Kremlin, Democrats were beholden to a specific country. If you look at the handling of you-know-what, they didn't want to find out the origins of you-know-what. Why not? The obvious answer is that it would exonerate Trump. So they couldn't do that. But it also correlates directly with the interests of a country that, where it originated. So the thing is, you have a complete lack of leadership. The cult of personality is the Democrats towards Trump. Everyone here voting for Trump, every single person watching this live stream during the uploads or live, if Donald Trump voted alongside Mitt Romney, we wouldn't vote for him, okay? Or I should say, if Donald Trump, said, Lincoln Project, I'll go ahead, I'll be more hawkish and militant, I believe in interventions now, I believe in regime changes, I'm Donald Trump, please vote for me. He would never again win a primary. He would never again get close to the Oval Office. I wouldn't vote for him. And I would rather see a Democrat in office than Trump become a Lincoln Project Republican. So I'm not voting for Trump because of his personality. I'm not beholden to any individual or political party. Henry! Democrats create poverty, then tell you they are the way out of poverty. Exactly. Better said than I did. Exactly. Well said. Eloquent and well said and concise and awesome. Thank you, Henry Mann. Yes, exactly. Democrats create poverty, then tell you they are the way out of poverty. Exactly. That's why when you look at the most impoverished places in the country, and they often times are urban centers within major cities, okay, they're run by Democrats. So obviously, these people they'd rather focus on Trump's personality as a sleight of hand. They're saying, look over there, don't look over here. Look at Trump, he's so mean, he's so horrible. We had a record low in poverty under Trump. We had a record low since 1959. It was the lowest poverty rate we've had in this country under Trump in 2019. The lowest poverty rate we've had. And people would rather have 14% poverty with a declining economy than deal with Trump's personality again. They can't stand Trump's personality. Ring-in! My man H.A., my man Ring-in Constitutional, thank you. I hope all is well. Ring-in Constitutional, thank you. They would rather, Ring-in, thank you so very much, Henry and Ring-in, they would rather have a recession. You have to understand, and JG and Eric and everybody here, we all know. We know this is the type of human being, Ring-in and Henry and everybody here, okay? They would, if you were driving in a car, okay? If you were driving in a car, and Tricky Vicky, thank you again. If you were driving in a car, ladies and gentlemen, and you were with a morally superior, wonderful, highly educated liberal Democrat, and the morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat was in the passenger seat, and you were driving, and suddenly the earth opened up, and you were devoured into a giant crevice within the earth. As you fell into the center of the earth, lightning strikes your car. As lightning strikes your car, you take out your cell phone and realize your 401k is down to zero because the market has crashed beyond belief. As all that is happening, birds poop on your car. I don't know how, but they do. Then you manage to look up as your car is flipping over, going down into the center of the earth, and you see a couple ICBMs above. Okay? Then a giant boulder follows you down, and is about to, as you hit the center of the earth, about to like crush your car. When eventually you get to the center of the earth, a giant boulder. And as you're going down and winding and twisting, and you're like, ah! You look at your significant other, your friend, whatever, who is the morally superior liberal Democrat, and they're saying at least Trump isn't tweeting. It's a good day because at least we have Democrats in the Oval Office, the House and Senate. At least Trump isn't tweeting. At least Trump isn't harming democracy. Because that's their mentality. They don't care. Real news, hello. Ronald, hello. JG, that's hilarious. JG, hello. Gnarly news, hello. So they will not care. There's never going to be an I told you so moment. They don't care. If it flirts with a depression, so be it, as long as Trump isn't in the Oval Office. They don't really care. It's not like there is no I told you so moment. It's really hilarious too because yesterday I looked at MSNBC and I looked at some of the comments and one comment was like, I'm going to vote for a better future. I don't usually vote, but I'm going to vote Democrat for a better future. I was like, a better future? Go look at if you are rich and wealthy and you don't care about the economy, vote Democrat. Democrats single-handedly took an economy that was in a V-shaped recovery or a recovery. I mean, in 2021, they were boasting, oh my God, Biden, oh, he cut poverty. Oh, poverty has increased now directly because of his policies. Because there's one thing about the economy that Democrats don't understand. It's not just 1 year. It's an entire 4 years you have to keep the economy going, which is what Trump was doing until Democrats, media, and the most apoplectic among us tanked the U.S. economy. Richie, hello. Tanked the U.S. economy. Okay, we had an amazing economy under Trump. It is not even up for debate. It was a fantastic economy. Absolutely nobody disagreed with that. It was a great economy, and, it was a fantastic economy, and household median incomes, personal incomes were at record highs. Poverty was at record lows. Unemployment was at record lows. Inflation was at 2%. Gas prices were less than $3. What was there not to like? I mean, are you that obsessed with Trump's personality that you think that you would rather have mashed potato brains? And God bless him. I hope he feels better. He has it again, which is very bizarre, but I hope he feels better. I hope Biden feels better. I really do. But, I mean, you don't see Trump this is the thing, the obsession that media has. And Jimmy Fallon is awesome. You slowly see people turning on. I mean, there's only so much you can do to prop up Biden. There's only so much you can do. At a certain point, you're living in a fantasy world, and you're completely delusional, thinking that this man is capable of anything good, anything profound. I mean, we have basically, he's not even a caretaker. We have a symbol, almost. He's a symbol of Democratic Party existence, not even strength. The Democrats exist, we know, we've been told, because mashed potato brains is in the Oval Office. So there you go. There's a Democrat now. Does anyone think of this man as a leader? No. I mean, Trump needed a resistance. So don't tell me that Democrats didn't think of Trump as a leader because they had to resist him. I don't need to resist Joe Biden. I feel sorry for him. If I resist him, I feel that he's so brittle he might, break apart in two. Henry, man! Detroit, Chicago, New York, looking more like, yep, all great American cities, Dems lead the way. I agree with you. Henry, man, great point. I agree with you. And, I mean, you can look, the great point regarding that, Henry, the issue of also criminal justice reform, here's what Democrats, they lack basic logic. If you want to if you want to, if it's a non-violent offense, fine. You wanna, do away with bail, fine. Yvette Moore, thank you. Mark Lamb. As a power couple lead the world. Yvette Moore, thank you. Oh, I don't know about that one. I don't know who I'd rather have. Yvette Moore, thank you. But if you look, Stephanie, thank you. If you look, ladies and gentlemen, it's like, do you think that mashed potato brains? Do you think that he's leading the country? Is anyone leading the country? Like Trump, they needed a resistance against Trump. Henry and Yvette, thank you again. They needed a resistance. Fabienne, bonjour. Hello, Fabienne. I have a beautiful, wonderful aunt, Tata Fabienne. Thank you so very much. I have an aunt in France named Fabienne. Thank you for watching. So there was a resistance because Trump was capable. He was capable of doing his best to implement policies. Okay? That's why the Democrats needed a resistance. Nobody needs a resistance to Joe Biden. There is no need for a resistance. Okay? Tina Bobina, the Bronco lady, talking to you from Facebook jail. Facebook jail. Tina, hello. I hope all is well. Tina, thank you. Tina Bobina. Thank you as always. Get out of Facebook jail. Henry, DeSantis or Newsom? I'll take DeSantis. Yeah, Newsom. Here's the thing with Gavin Newsom, okay? When Democrats say that Gavin Newsom, he faced a recall in California. Do people not remember that when a Democrat faces a recall in a blue state, they are not viable nationally. They're barely viable in terms of California. You have to understand, like, people in California and New York, you could tell them to wear those 19th century diving helmets, okay? Those iron, giant iron, where it's like, and you take the little glass, circular glass thing, and they'll do it. They'll be just fine. If you had experts say do that, they'll do it. If you tell them you have to hop on one foot, and this will save you from you know what, and you can't walk on 2 feet, you have to hop on 1 foot, and you have to juggle flaming bowling pins. Do that. If you don't do that, you're gonna hurt your neighbor, and grandma. They will do it. Okay? You have to understand the psychology. They will do anything as long as it's not Republican. They think Republicans are the devil. They would rather have a recession. They would rather have mashed potato brains. They don't even need somebody who can articulate or speak in a coherent manner. They don't need that at all. Okay? They don't need that at all. They don't need someone who can actually speak. Just give me somebody who has a heartbeat and slurring his speech and he's barely functioning. It's fine as long as it's not Trump. Okay? As long as it's not Trump. Can't stand Trump. That's the thing. That's their mentality. Then they call you up drunk like, I can't be your friend anymore. You like Trump. Ah. There you go. These people have done away with God or religion or any sense of self, and it's all about what will people at dinner parties think? What will my friends think? How can I possibly be the friend of a Trump supporter? And so they don't understand why people vote for Trump. They don't understand why people vote for Trump because they don't know any Trump supporters. 73 million. How do you not know if you have a nation of 320 million Americans and 73 million Americans voted for Trump? How do you not know somebody who voted for Trump? My God. So you have taken almost a third of the country, less than a third of the country, and you have then, secluded yourself or ignored what 73 million people want, which is a great economy. People want a great economy. That's the thing. It's the economy, stupid. I mean, you could say, I'm not a fan of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had a better presidency than President Obama. Oh, thank you. Finally, you went ahead and said something. And this is the truth. I'm not saying this when I say I want Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump 2024, I do primarily because I think Trump will defeat Clinton, and also for other reasons too. I want everybody on the left, every pundit on the left that went after me, to tell their voters, to tell their viewers to vote Clinton. I mean, that's one of the main things. But Bill Clinton had a better presidency. He didn't destroy a country with a failed NATO intervention. His foreign policy wasn't that great. You could say he had an intervention also. You can definitely criticize that intervention. The issue, however, is that it was a little bit different from what took place in Libya with President Obama. But the economy was actually a good economy. Okay? President Obama's economy took a long time to actually, rebound completely from 2008. Okay, then Trump came in, and they kept trying to give President Obama credit for what Trump was doing. But we see now with Biden that it's not, you don't just plug in somebody. Democrats think, well, you can plug in somebody, and Lisa, hello. And if you plug in somebody, you'll get the same wonderful economy without Trump's personality. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You can't do that. You can't just plug in mashed potato brains and think that you could just have a great economy. Biden's approval dips to new low. It will only get lower, ladies and gentlemen. He's already at the lowest point ever in presidential history. Okay, let's see, Biden point. 38% of Americans approve. Who are these 38%? So that's nonsense. That's complete nonsense. That's complete and utter nonsense. It's more like 32 or 33. I mean, if you really want to be, Gallup is great. They say, well, Gallup is the best. They're usually very good, but it's lower than 38%. Okay. So Biden's 6-quarter average is the lowest for an elected president. The lowest for an elected president, 6-quarter average. Okay. So now we're getting a little bit more towards realism here. You do not have close to 40% of Americans who think that he's doing a good job. So that's nonsense. That's not. But if you say, here, Biden 6 quarters in office, during this time, an average of 40% of the American approved. See, I don't even believe that. I don't believe that. Jimmy Carter and Donald Trump had ratings only slightly better, 42%. Trump had a higher average approval rating than Biden has, the lowest of all time, and Trump had all of media after him. Trump had all of media after him. Biden has all of media propping him up. Nobody's blaming Biden for the recession that he caused. Yes, he caused that recession that we're in. You have to understand, if you take things into context, the context here is, what would his approval rating, and this is very important, ladies and gentlemen, what would his approval rating be without media? So let's give a poll question. Would without media support, let's see, 30% 35% or below 30%. Now, answer honestly, because I'm trying to. Let's do this. So, what would Biden's approval rating be? No, seriously. Honestly, I think it would be 30 to 30. I would say 30 35%, because you have enough people. Say I'll even this was a kind of like, rhetorical question here. My initial answer would be 28%, but I'll say 30 to 35%. And I think his real approval rating is about 32, 33%. Okay? Because it ain't 38%. That's not possible. When you're in a recession and you're seeing layoffs now and inflation, real wages is down 4.4%. Real wages are down 4.4%. There's no way. There's no way. I mean, you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where the economy is contracting, and that is the most important concern of voters. The most important concern of voters is the economy. It always is for every president. The most important concern of voters is always his approval rate is like, exactly, Henry Mann, exactly. I agree with you. I think it's about 32%. Because the thing is, you can't, when media was after Trump and he still had a 42% approval rating, okay, that says something about that says that his support within the country is far greater than you might think. It says his support is far greater than you might think. Okay? When you have an entire media apparatus against one man, nobody can withstand that. It doesn't matter what you do. Nobody can withstand that. Nobody can there's nobody that can actually say, oh, well, you know what? Look at all these great things I'm doing. Look at the economy. The economy was breaking records under Trump. Like breaking records. We had an all-time low in poverty. But this is a problem also with Donald Trump. He doesn't communicate his accomplishments. He doesn't communicate his accomplishments. He just doesn't communicate his accomplishments. And that's the problem. Nobody knows we had an all-time low in poverty. The poverty rate was at 10.5%. And that's an all-time low. Household median income hit all-time highs. And so the average household had a higher income. The average American family had a higher income. What's wrong with that? I mean, people won't, JG. The joke is, what was shocking was that he voted Democrat. But no, you have an economy that's only going to get worse, and so that's how when I talk a little bit about the Durham probe and I get into the discussion about the economy and generally about politics, it's like you can't have Biden at 38% approval when we're in a recession and nobody really knows anything that he's done. He doesn't ever really speak to media. When it does, it's like an abomination. So, I mean, what is he known for? I mean, you can look at presidential history. Trump, he did great things. To people who don't like him, oh my God, he's a tyrant. What happened was the entire American system was leveled against him. He's actually the opposite of an authoritarian or tyrant. When you hear the left using that word, it starts with an F. It's basically like authoritarian, tyrant. I'm not going to use it, but what they do is they're describing themselves in most cases. And they're trying, see, what they do is they hide behind the emotion conveyed by words. So they're like, oh, Republicans are authoritarians, tyrants. They're cruel. I love this one, too. The cruelty. It's so cruel. Look what's taking place now. In every single, like you could talk about every single topic from what's taking place in the southern border to foreign policy, to economic policy here. The cruelty is leveled by Democrats towards the rest of the world or Republicans. Not the other way around. Trump isn't cruel. Trump has a personality people don't like, and that's it. That's like the main thing. He has a personality people don't like. That's his whole thing. That's why. Oh my God, I almost had him. It's a gigantic mosquito. Oh my God. I have my little spray thing here. Keep on. There's like a dinosaur mosquito right there. Anyway, he was a great president. The problem is communicating this. So if you were to say to somebody like, and don't, because like don't get into a debate. It's like no reason to, with a morally superior liberal Democrat. But if you had to, you say, look, household median incomes were at all-time highs. So what? So what? It's like this Pavlovian response. They'll immediately get this reaction that it won't be able to control themselves. So personal incomes were up. Poverty was an all-time low. That wasn't his fault. It wasn't Trump's. It wasn't Trump. Like, okay, it happened under his, like, his policies. If you want to talk about tax cuts, the tax cuts coincided, even if you don't think the tax cuts caused or directly resulted in a great economy, the great economy took place and there were tax cuts. So it's like we have Biden now and we have a recession. Do you think maybe you can kind of put two and two together? Henry, man, I'm a New Yorker, so I get Trump's mindset. Exactly. Henry, exactly. And the thing is, they would have embraced his rear end if they had met him. All of these people who disowned friends and family, if they had met Donald Trump in 2014, they would have embraced his rear end. The problem is that if CNN and the Washington Post, the New York Times and MSNBC, if they continue every single day for 6 years telling you that Donald Trump is the devil, people will suspend logic and then believe Donald Trump is the devil. And you have Biden as the 6-quarter average, the lowest for an elected president. The lowest for an elected president. And you have all of media propping him up. You have all of media propping him up. So it's like you have all of media propping him up, and it's like, at the end of the day, the approval is going to get lower, unfortunately. Because there's a certain point you're seeing right now, there's cracks in the armor. You're seeing, like, the system cannot keep, propping up mashed potato brands. It's not possible. It's not possible because the economy is going to get worse. It's not getting better. Geopolitics can get much worse. Don't think that the crisis in Europe is the only thing we'll face. God forbid. There's never just one geopolitical crisis. There's never just one. There's usually numerous ones at the same time. So, I mean, like, Democrats are, and if they didn't have every single possible advantage from media to social media algorithms, Henry, thank you. Trump was adored by media before he ran. Exactly. Henry, man, thank you so very much, as always. Thank you, Henry. He was adored by media. I mean, he had The Apprentice, and so The Apprentice was, I mean, people were watching The Apprentice. People had no problem with Trump. They were watching The Apprentice. They had no problem. What happened is what always happens. When you become an obstacle to the Democratic Party, it is an entire public relations machine. There has to be a name created for this public relations machine. One day I'll create this name. You can't have Rolling Stone and Vanity Fair and Esquire writing the same exact articles as the Washington Post. It's not possible. You can't live in a society where a publication that used to publish Christopher Hitchens is now saying the exact same thing about geopolitics and society and the economy as every other major publication. The New York Times. There used to be a time where you'd have a Hunter S. Thompson or Christopher Hitchens, or you would have journalists that didn't always agree with the mainstream and would push back and eloquently, state their case. But now it's if you are anywhere to the left or to the right of mainstream viewpoint, you will be excommunicated. You committed blasphemy and heresy. And so it's a big problem. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Henry, everybody here, thank you so. Yvette, everybody here, thank you so much. To my super chat, I cannot thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so very much, everybody. To my super chat, thank you so much. Starting Monday, people, I will have every single day, just set your clock, set your dial to 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Pacific. And I will have an upload like clockwork in the morning and early afternoon, depending on where you're at. Every day at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Pacific. And then I'll also have segments on the Stock Market Crash channel and the Nuclear Confrontation channel. And then I'll try to do more live streams also on this channel. But I will have at least 4 segments every single day on this channel and my 2 others starting August 1st, Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very, very much. Stephanie, thank you. Dinah to Die, hello. Tina Bobina, thank you again. Lena, thank you so very much, everybody. Freddie, hello. I'll see you very soon.